Hey, what's up, guys? How are y'all? Welcome back to the OS Rick project. How are you guys? I hope you're having a wonderful weekend, wonderful week, wonderful day. I know I have. I'm fresh out of Anime Matsuri 2022. It was a good show, busy show. It was a it was a 4 day show, but I was there for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and apparently Thursday. I always just assumed that Thursday was a day for as a vendor to go over there and set up, get your display ready and going. And when I say a vendor, I mean my wife's the vendor. I just go out there and help her out, help her set up set up things, sell things, move things. Watch her table for her while she goes to the restroom, and And the thing is, and she gives me a badge for me and my friend Ruben, OS Onslaught, and we go out there and wash the table for her, and then we also get to enjoy the convention ourselves and buy lots of things. And I did. Mostly some t-shirts, some decals. That seems to be the very popular thing, the vinyl decals right now. But I didn't put them on on my little Honda. I'm not a waifu hunter or part of the senpai squad. I just stuck them on my tower. So I'll put pictures on that later on, maybe. We'll see what's up. But yeah, I was Anime Matsuri this whole weekend, guys. And I know by the time this podcast is released, Anime Matsuri will be long gone. It'll be in the rearview mirror along with some other events. But I'm going to try to catch them up and put them more in sync in a timely fashion. Because after this month, after the 7th of August, I should be able to upload again. So there might be a slight delay compared to the next episode. So we'll see. We'll figure it out, guys. But anyways, guys, I just want to talk to you, see what y'all are doing, what y'all been up to. Just want to share and do the podcast. And I appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate y'all listening. I'm really grateful that you guys are here and hanging out. I love doing this, but when I get to when I know there's other people that are listening and enjoying it, or not, or have complaints or questions or whatever. I mean, just the fact that this is getting played, I'm just truly grateful. I really am, guys. It humbles me because I like doing this, but when you guys are out there, it makes me enjoy it even more. So thank you. So with that out the way, what do we want to talk about first, guys? Since we're still on Anime series, let's follow up. Let's segue into what I've been watching. More Jujutsu Kaisen, and I'm enjoying it. And I'm starting to get more familiar with the characters' names because I always have difficult time trying to remember Japanese names compared to, Western names. When I'm watching Attack on Titan, Levi and Sasha and Connie and Eren and Mikasa, which he's the only one that's kind of foreign. All those names, Erwin, Armin, all those names. It's easy a lot for it's easy for me to memorize those names and just file them in and then put them away and know who they are. But when it comes to Japanese characters, especially like My Hero Academia or Jujutsu Kaisen or just Demon Slayer, trying to remember all the names, it's a challenge because I'm not used to those names. So I have to focus and keep my eye out. So I'm starting to pick up on that. But I've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen. I want to say maybe halfway through the first season, episode 12, or give or take around there, and I'm enjoying it. I've been having a blast. I watch it when I'm exercising, so I'm able to just look at the monitor while I'm swinging the kettlebell, and I'm appreciating. I really do like it, and I've been watching it on Funimation. So yeah. If you guys have any suggestions on what else to watch, let me know. Because I am enjoying that one a lot. It's really good. It's really fun. Everybody's a character. The art style, the animations, the fighting scenes, it's pretty cool. So that's what I've been watching lately when it comes to the anime scene. And when it came to walking the showroom floor, of course, upstairs they had the artist alley. Well, going back to Anime Matsuri, upstairs they had the artist alley. So a lot of fan made stuff, and of course, it was a lot of some things were just wares and crafts that people that they create and they make and they go up there and sell it. And some other stuff was just fan made, like anime stuff. Again, decals, perler beads, t-shirt prints, stuff like that. So I didn't see much that really stood out, but like I said, I saw a lot of decals. That seemed to be like the flavor of the season right now, because you just see that around, and even just driving around, you'll see the stickers on everybody's vinyls. You know, the peepers looking over the windshield. So yeah, I saw a lot of that. I did see some cool jackets out there. I think it was from like, I think the brand's like Astral Rage, and they have these like it's like this tech fashion, tech jacket looking like. And they had, you know, that they had the jacket and the leggings. If you guys have ever played Scarlet Nexus, it almost is reminiscent of that style. Of course, mine is the holographic orange wires and cables that are like hanging on the outfit, but that kind of gear looked pretty cool. And they had a jacket on there. They had some jackets, and I saw a customer come up to the table with it. And I was like, man, that looks so cool. And he's like, yeah, they're downstairs selling it. And they were pretty pricey. And I went down there and they were like sold out. They had just one jacket left. It was small. I mean, like Asian small. I mean, I wear small, but I wouldn't. My ass wouldn't squeeze in that jacket. So I was like, no. So I was like, you know what? Just take it to sign, Rick. You're fine with that. You got enough jackets and stuff to wear, so you're good. But I want to talk about video games now, guys. I want to transition. So that's enough for Matsuri. If anything else happens, I'll think of it. I'll bring it up. But I want to talk about, and this was a subject that it came up during stream when I was playing Sekiro, and we probably might have mentioned it, or you guys might have heard of it recently. Bandai Namco, they got hacked or something of that sort with their website, and they were able to find some information, and they released some IPs that are soon to be released or are in the makings of. Of course, this could be a complete fabrication. It could be a total just made up stuff. Who knows if there's any kernel of truth? But when I saw that, one of them, of course, they had like Tekken 8 and another Dragon Ball Z fighter game. What else did they have? A whole bunch of stuff. You guys could go look it up if you want to. But what interested me the most was when they talked about Elden Ring DLC, Barbarian Badlands, something along that name. And it got me thinking, when I was playing Sekiro, if they were to make DLC for Elden Ring, what would it consist of? Because if you think about it, when it comes to Elden Ring, the world is huge, massive. I mean, it's insanely huge. When you start the game and you look at Limgrave, you're thinking to yourself, man, this is a pretty big place. And then you get, and early in the game, you'll stumble across a chest that ports you halfway across the world. And then you look at the map and you're like, oh, this is this huge. This is this big. And then later on in the game, it'll still be early in the game, but it's still early. You could get teleported again, and this time it sends you to the far north of the map, like far, far north of the world, of the whole map. And you look at it, and then you realize, holy Jesus Christ, this is massive. So I mean, just right out the gate, the world, the lands between. That's what the area's called, guys. The lands between in Elden Ring is insanely huge. So if they were going to go into our route of saying we're gonna build another zone, I would be surprised, given how big the game is. There's so much to do, so much to explore, so much to see, and that's just on the top side. Not to mention all the catacombs, all the caves, all the secret little dungeons here and there. And I'm not done there, you guys. And then there's the underground world, which is divided up to 3 to 4 large areas, and that's huge. So if they would want to add another zone, it would have to be something that's uniquely different. Well, I would expect it would be something uniquely different compared to all the different zones that you see in the lands between. And I don't know if that's even worth exploring. Now, I'm sure they have a team of creative that could think of another way of creating DLC. If that's the case, if there's any truth to this rumor at all, of this release, of this leak at all. And then I'm thinking, well, what about if they introduce another class? But again, most FromSoft games, in Dark Souls games, FromSoft games, whatever, when you start as a class, it doesn't mean, it's mostly just here are some of your starting spells, and some of the points are already allocated to certain spots, to certain attributes. So you're still free to change whatever you want. So if they add another class, I don't know what that would signify, unless they want to do it for flavor, for, just to, to add more to the backstory. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe they'll add some more items, weapons. Again, if you just look at how big the game is, there's tons of weapons. Swords, great swords, colossal swords, clubs, axes, hand weapons, whips. And then, of course, you got your staves and all sorts of spells, incantations. I mean, there's just a lot to be there. And so where I'm going with this, guys, is if they do make DLC for this game, regardless of what it is, whether it's new lands, adding more items, like when would be the good time to bring it into the game? Do you do it within the same year of the game's release, so that way it's still fresh and people still are willing to play it and are still relatively, while Elden Ring is still on people's minds? Or do you wait longer, a year or so, and then release it? That way you give people a reason to come back to the game. Now, my problem is, or my issue is, if you do it really, really soon, well, I don't know. What's the drawback if you do it really, really soon? But maybe if you don't have content already to be released, I guess if you kind of like half-ass it. But but being a fan of From Software, I don't think that'll be something that we'll do. I'm pretty sure whatever they do, they're going to take their time and do it right, and take as much time as they need. If you wait like a year, I think you might be just too far removed from the game. There'll be a lot of other games that have been released that might not want to bring as much as the crowd as you could get when you do it earlier. You still have your hardcore fan base returning for sure. There's no doubt about that. And you might even get some of the initial folks that maybe this could be their first time to come back, because I know several people that Elden Ring is a lot of their first time playing a FromSoft game. So it gets me thinking, like, when's a sweet spot to release a DLC for a game? Because you don't want to do it too soon and not have enough content, and then just get people upset because, oh man, I paid this much for this much content and I didn't get enough, my values, my time's worth. I think that's gonna vary for game to game, what they provide and what they bring to the table. But then again, if you wait a whole year, if you wait a whole year, is your game still relevant? Is it still fresh? Do people want to come back? And I'm just seeing this in a perspective where I can see some people coming. If you do it a year later, I can see people coming back. Your hardcore fan base will come back, but you probably won't have as much. You'll lose some people just from the distance of the time from the DLC and the main game. And that's just a topic that I just wanted to bring up, guys, and see how you feel about it when it comes to DLC, when it comes to these kind of games. Because I'm so used to, playing mostly fighting games. I'm used to in a cycle of every year, here's a character pass. And throughout that whole year, within those 9 months, 10 months, we will release a character, every 2 to 3 months, and then have some updates along the way and stuff like that. So I'm used to, when it comes to, in that regard, when it comes to battle passes in fighting games, that's the norm. When it comes to open world games like Elden Ring, games of that nature, of that stature, I don't know what to expect, if anything at all. So, but honestly, if you ask me, does Elden Ring need DLC? I would say no. It's probably fine where it is. The game's Yanome is one of my favorite games of this age, and it's probably going to be up there for a good while. So if anything, I would say just continue to update the game. Make sure fix some of the bugs, some of the balance some of the weapons, make all the weapons playable and useful, not just some of them. Have some bring balances to other builds. Maybe tweak some numbers here and there. Make incantations and spells more viable. I know they did touch on that and did give them a buff in one of the major updates. So I mean that'll be my only thing as a fan of Elden Ring will be just continue to support the game. If I mean, who's to say that they might want to add like another features like what they did with Sekiro, like add a boss rush mode, or maybe some I would say different features where I have no idea. I don't know, guys. I would leave that up to the creatives to think of something on what to do with that. But yeah, I just want to see what you guys feel about. Of course, that was just kind of a rant on what possible DLC will be released for Elden Ring, and I just kind of want to explore and think about what we could do with that. Moving on, guys. I might have talked about this already, but I want to bring it up one more time. With The Last of Us being a remake coming out soon for, coming out at the Sony tax of a full price of $70. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I'm pretty sure there's some fans out there that will say, I like The Last of Us. I want to see it. I want to play it, and I'm willing to pay the money. I don't care. I'm a fan. Good for you. That's awesome. Of course, there's gonna, they showed some side by sides comparison. And look, guys, I'm not a fan of this as a franchise. They showed some side by side comparisons, and some of the face animations look pretty good. They made some of the environments look even better. Visually, they did a lot for that game, just to help to take advantage of the PlayStation 5 engine of the hardware, and just make the game, I guess, be more immersed in that environment, which is all fine and cool. I mean, the aesthetics aside, the only thing that I really thought was worth mentioning is that they improved the AI, which will make it more add more of a difficulty when it comes to hiding or trying to sneak around, or if they're looking for you. I think that was neat. I don't know if it's worth the $70 upgrade. And then again, with The Last of Us being released at PlayStation 3, during the PlayStation 3, and then being touched up or being remastered in PlayStation 4, and then having The Last of Us Part 2 being released in 2020, it feels like, do you guys really need a Last of Us remake? You just got the remaster. I mean, the game, there's like a whole bunch of other deserving titles, in my opinion, that should get the remaster treatment or the remake treatment compared to this game. And you guys probably know where I'm going to go with this, where I would like to, if they were to say, instead of them saying The Last of Us is getting it, if they would have said Bloodborne's going to get it, where they're going to say, they'd say, oh, we're going to be taking advantage of the PlayStation 5's variable refresh rate, keeping the game locked in at 60 frames per second, or making it, or going 120 with 1080p or stuff like that, and then adding all of the was it the Old Hunters DLC? I never played it, guys. If we add all the DLC that's in the game and then charge you $70, me being a fan and hearing all that, I would definitely jump on that franchise, definitely play the game. And I think it'll be more deserved. I'm saying more deserving of getting that remake upgrade than Last of Us. But of course, I'm biased. I'm telling y'all here up front, 100%. I just prefer that game, Bloodborne, way over Last of Us, and I wish it would have been Bloodborne, just to see it for what they could do with it. If they could have just said, "Hey, we're giving it to Bluepoint." If Sony would have said, "We're giving it to Bluepoint, and they're gonna and do everything I just said," 60 frames per second, all the DLC, and get it all up and running, and just update it and make it look pretty, make it look great, and just make sure everything's tight and that would be nice. And yes, I would pay $70. So basically at the end of the day, any way you slice it, it comes down to, yeah, I wish it was Bloodborne, and I have no problems paying $70. But no, we don't. We got The Last of Us. That's great. Some people love it. And you can also get it on the PlayStation 5 collection along with Bloodborne, I believe. So I really wish it was something else, and it's not. So it's fine. But I mean, look, guys, if you guys are fans and you think it's gonna be great, if it's worth it, if you're gonna buy it day one, let me know, please, and sound off, because I'm curious on what you guys think. If you feel it's just for the $70 price tag, because like I said, if the shoe was on the other foot, and it was the Bloodborne getting that treatment, I'm sure the Last of Us fans would be like, "You wouldn't pay $70 for that?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, yes, I would." So take it for what it is, guys. I just wanted to bring that up. That's another. I think that's another thing we could talk about, and I get some good discourse running on that. Let's move into the fighting game part, guys. So Multiversus, the beta, has been released. I've been hearing a lot of things about it, a lot of buzz. I don't know if you guys have seen anything on this, or has it been on your radar? Apparently, it's from Warner Brothers. It's free to play. I think it has all the things that all the fighting games want, where it's crossplay, rollback, all the good stuff. I haven't looked it up, guys. I've been very limited. This game is just. And the only reason I'm talking about this game is because it's stirring some buzz within the fighting game community. I really don't care much for it. Even when it comes to brawl style games, if I'm gonna play one, it's gonna be Super Smash Brothers Ultimate on the Switch. Only because that was the first one I was exposed to. I like the characters, and when I play that game, guys, I play 1v1, 3 stocks. With like if it was an FGC event, whether you could pick the certain stages are allowed, with no items, on a timer and stuff like that. I mean, that's how I play that game. That's how I enjoy it. Now, can I play on party mode if there were some other casual players around? Yeah, I could play that way too. I have no problem with it. I could be silly. I could pick up Wario and find what items do they have on there? They have all sorts of items, and then go around just being silly. I could play that way too. But when it comes to my preferred way of playing Smash, it's tournament style like that. So I know Multiversus is out, and because of that, that's why I just stick to Smash. Everything else, whether it's the Nicktoons one, the Multiverse that just got released, the Brawlhalla, those I don't care for them. So, it being free to play, how do you guys feel about that feature? Do you believe that's going to be the future of fighting games, going free to play? Do you think it's completely worth it? Do you think that's going to cause a change in the industry? Because in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if you see some smaller IPs, lesser IPs, smaller companies use that method, the free to play, where it just download the game. We have a starting set of characters that will rotate. You can purchase them, where you can buy some additional content, whether it's costumes or emotes or dances or costumes or skins or stages or what have you, whatever pick your poison. I wouldn't be surprised if smaller companies, smaller IPs take that route. As for the legacy fighting games, your Street Fighters, your Tekkens, your Guilty Gears, your Mortal Kombats, I don't think that's a model that these companies will adopt anytime soon. I mean, I could be wrong. We all know that, guys. It could change. But in my opinion, I feel like these companies have been doing this for so long and it's been working for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to market their games in such a way like they have, where it's an upfront price of anywhere between $49 to $59.99 with additional character battle passes. And then if you want to buy more stuff, like color packs, costume packs, a la whatever Capcom has been doing it. And you've kind of seen that you've kind of seen that adopted by other major fighting game companies. What Capcom did was during Street Fighter 4 with it was actually with Street Fighter 5 if I'm not mistaken, with character passes, where now you're starting to see Mortal Kombat 11. They had character passes, Guilty Gear character passes, Tekken character passes. I know I want to say Tekken 7's probably been out since Street Fighter 5 on arcade, but I don't know if they had any character passes. I'm not too sure. You guys correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I think it started with Capcom and Street Fighter 5. That's when you started seeing season character passes. So with Multiverse being free to play, I do like the fact that with it being free to play, the people that are on the fence about wanting to play fighting games, whether it's a one-on-one tournament style fighting game or a brawler style fighting game like Multiversus or Brawlhalla or Smash, if it brings people in to want to play something, to try it out, if it brings in people to want to bring them in and want to try it out, I think that'll be worth it, because eventually, not everybody will stick around, but if you could get just a handful of people that do come in through that initial surge of knowing that the game is free to play, you could get some fresh blood in, that will be well worth it. I think it'll be worth it. It really will. But you could bring them in, but the genre, especially when it comes to fighting games, and depending on which fighting game you're playing, I know a lot of games. What they've been doing is they've been simplifying things, and I'm not using this as a reason to gatekeep. I'm fine with the game. I've been playing fighting games for a long time. Okay, guys, I'm not the best at execution. I'm not the best at in the standings. I'm not winning tournaments, but I love playing fighting games. I play them all. I play most of them, I should say. There's some I absolutely love, and there's some I just don't touch. So, but I always know when it comes to fighting games, if you want to do some of your special moves, you're gonna have to do some special inputs. Whether it's a Z motion for your dragon punches, whether it's a 360 for your command grabs, whether it's half circle backs and forwards for your supers like in Guilty Gear, or just half circle moves for just regular special moves. You've always had to been able to have to execute those moves during a combo so you could get the most damage and you could win, and hopefully you could do that consistently and not lose, because when it comes to fighting games, I know how it feels, guys, when you're just on the opposite end of the screen, on the other end of the screen, just getting pummeled and not able to do anything. It sucks. It's terrible. It's not fun. Unless you're doing the beating, it's not fun just receiving it and then get back in there round 2. Oh, great! I just got perfected on, and now I gotta go in there again, and I don't even know what to do, and I'm just getting beat. Screw this! I'm done. It's very easy, and then I know a lot of games. What they try to do is, and it's lately with DNF Duel and some with Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, where you could do shortcut inputs. And of course, there's those drawbacks to that, where it puts the special move on a cooldown, or it uses some of your resources, or it puts it. There's a give and take. There's a trade for using simple input moves. In my opinion, I think DNF Duel is in a good spot for what it is. I wouldn't change anything about it. Leave it as it is. It's fine with the simple inputs. Same with Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, the option that if you want to do a manual input, or a shortcut input, you have the options and you can use it whenever you want. And I think that game's fine, and I think it works well. I don't think it's for every game, and I think it works well with some games for sure. But if you make every game become that way, where you just want simple inputs just because you want the casual player to be in, and then you start alienating your hardcore fan base, I don't think that's good. It's not, because like I said, I like playing DNF Duel, but it's not my number one fighting game. It's honestly, even though I haven't played it lately, it's still Street Fighter. That's the one I've invested the most time in. I have a blast. I know what the moves are. I know these characters. I have a history with the game, so that's my number one. And if they had simple inputs, I don't know how I would feel about it. It would definitely take some adjustments to it to get used to it. I would definitely try it, but at the end of the day, I do want something that's a challenge. That's why I've been playing some Guilty Gear Strive lately. Because that you have to, it's it's a different animal compared to DNF Duel. Just with the inputs alone, you have to be really tight and know how to execute. So I mean, I think with these free to play games coming in and having simple inputs, I think that's a good way to get people in. But at the end of the day, you gotta have to want someone that's willing to put in that work to remain in a fighting game, to want to be good, to stick around. And that's hard, because from what I see now, a lot of games in these days is you see what are the top genres, guys? You see your first person shooters, your Call of Duties, you see your battle royales, Fortnites, Apex Legends, and these games, and of course, you have your Fall Guys, and just different things of that ilk of just random battle royale. They don't all have to involve guns, but especially when it just comes to shooting games, first person shooter games, and then battle royales. Those games in particular, it's so easy that, and I'm not saying it's easy in the fact that you can jump into a game, have fun, go around shooting. The circle's closing in. Oh, you're dead. Okay, that's fine. Queue right back up. Do it again. You're going in there, and then even though you got shot, you got killed. You can see what your party members are doing. Okay, leave match and go into the next one, and you're right back in. Get ready to fall. Pick your drop zone, and you're right back in the game. When it comes to fighting games, if you're losing, you're gonna have to hold that. It's gonna be anywhere between 90 seconds to 60 seconds to 30 seconds of you just getting beat. And that is not fun, guys, especially when you can't do anything. I mean, at least in battle royales, if you're gonna, you don't just die unless you're AFK. You can at least get part of the dogfight, shoot, get shot, have a round, and then if they surprise you and you just get ambushed, okay, it's done. It doesn't take long for you to get shot down and then queue up for another match, and you're right back in there. In fighting games, like, you're gonna have to stay there and hold all that, and it sucks if you don't know what you're doing, and especially if you're just learning, and if you don't have a dedicated set of friends that you could like meet up with either in real life or on Discord to hang out with and learn the game. It could be difficult because, yeah, some fighting games, they show you this is the tutorial, these are the trials, when we'll demo and show you how it's supposed to be done, where apparently here is where after I knock you down, I'm supposed to do a micro step, get closer, and then continue the combo. If you didn't see that, you would have a tough time figuring it out. Or if you didn't have a friend that knows how to execute it and give you a hint on how to execute the combo, it could be very difficult and frustrating just in training mode, and that's just learning the game. So I don't know with games. I believe fighting games, some of them being free to play, is a good way to get people in. Going with simple inputs, that's another way to get people to come in. But I don't think this should be the model for every fighting game out there. Some, sure, of course, because not every fighting game should be the same. They should do something different. They should be off the wall. They should try easy inputs. They should try changing the style, try free to play, because that's what DNF Duel does. It has simple inputs, it's fun, it's crazy, it's off the wall. There's it gets a little nutty out there, but you know what, at the end of the day, it's still just a fun game that does that no other fighting game does. So I'm glad that they do that. But and something I want to talk about too, guys, y'all might have saw it today, but it was Tom Cannon from Project L. He's working on Project L, which is Riot's new fighting game. It's going to be a 2D fighter, assist-based fighter, free to play. And they announced that today's going to be free to play. And they announced another character, Eloa, I believe. I'm not familiar with it. I played very little League of Legends. I don't play any Valorant. I never played any of Riot's other games, so I don't know. I could name you like maybe 2 characters from LOL, and that's it. But of course, people are probably not surprised that their fighting game, Project L, I think that's just a placeholder or a code name for right now, it will be free to play. That seems to be the MO for Riot, and I'm kind of hype and excited for this game. I want to see how they do it. I want to know how they're able to get a genre and make it function. I know back in November, the Cannon brothers came out and they talked about they gave a lot of information. They gave quite a bit of information on how they're going to implement using their servers across the nation, how they're going to be using rollback, how they're going to be punishing characters that rage quit or that use Wi-Fi connections. I mean, that aspect on making sure online play is an immaculate experience, that I applaud. I think that's great, and I think that's what every fighting game company needs to do nowadays to have their fighting game survive in this environment. Because if you don't have that, good luck. Yeah, if people can't get online, even though the pandemic's over and done with, and we're having offline events happening, because we have Evo coming up next weekend out there in Las Vegas. So yeah, we have offline events happening, and that's great. That's cool, and I'm glad they're coming back. But there are some people that during the pandemic, they like just spending online, even without the pandemic. They just like being online warriors and playing games online. They don't want to travel. They don't want to go out, and it's perfectly fine. So if you want your game to survive that, if you want your fighting game to be viable in this day and age, having a robust online gameplay is 100% an absolute must. Now, with that said, you're gonna need crossplay too, because you don't want your pool of players just to be limited to just one console or just to only PC. You want your Xbox players to play with your PlayStation players, to also play with your PC, Steam / Epic game players or players. So you want to make sure you get that crossplay also. They almost go hand in hand with a robust netcode. So I'm excited what Project L and Riot's going to be doing with their fighting game. It being free to play does not surprise me. I think I think that's the way to go. What I also wanted to bring up was Tom Cannon also said, when it comes to monetization, we promise to be respectful of both your time and your wallet. So hearing that, I like how that sounds. Okay, man, this guy is cool. They're not gonna just I guess it's not gonna. Look, don't be like Diablo Immortal. Don't be those guys. And I know it's two different genres, but don't be like, oh, the match just ended. Would you like to buy a skin? Would you like to increase? I don't know, your costume tabs. You can hold more costume. I don't know how they would do it, but don't be like Diablo Immortal, where you just blatantly throwing out just monetization options out there all the time. Please don't be that way. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you guys know how I feel about when it comes to DLC and microtransactions. I'm not a fan at all, and I'm sure you could play this game perfectly without it. But I just don't want it to be invasive and in your face and just constantly annoying the heck out of you to want to force you to play it, or use the whole FOMO, the fear of missing out, just to make sure you get some stuff. Like limited time only, you gotta get it now. The only way you could get it is through buying it. Like I just don't like that. And then also on the same, on this on the backside of that same coin, where you could do dailies or grind some experience points, but if you do the math, it'll require you to be on like hours on at a time. Like, no, that's not the way to do it either. I mean, I just hearing Tom Cannon say that, like, it just gives me hope for the game. I want it to be great. And I know it's going to bring in a lot of the players that don't play fighting games, that play, Riot's other games, like the LOL and Valorant and what have you, the other games. I'm sure it's going to bring a lot of that traffic in. So you're going to see people talking about how, oh, look at the numbers for day one, the most higher player base. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of that talk. Just like what Multiversus did. They're talking about, oh, it's getting a lot of players online. Look, when it comes to fighting games, guys, they always have high numbers, and then after a week or two, they just drop and they drop and they drop and they settle. After a month or two, that's what your player base is at, and it is what it is, guys. That's how it is. A lot of people get in, they try it out, they'll play the game, hang out there for a while, and then if they like it, they'll keep playing it. If not, then they'll go back to their preferred fighting game or any game that they play. So you've probably seen a lot of that with Multiversus lately, and I'm sure you're gonna see a lot of that when Project L finally drops. But they're taking their time with it, they said, and they have one more announcement for the year that's coming up. I mean, it could be an Evo. I look at Evo, they might have another small tidbit of information, and then they might wait again till sometime in the holidays to let us know when it's coming out. And when it comes to that game, like any other game, guys, take your time, and just wait and wait. There's lots of other things in the meantime that you could play that'll hold you over. So yeah. I want to segue, guys. Also, since we're still on fighting games, I want to talk about Evo, and that's going to be coming up this weekend. So I believe it'll be the August 5th, 6th, and 7th. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Are you guys excited? Me personally, the fact that it's going back to an offline event has me wanting to watch it again, for sure. Of course, back in 2020, at the height of the pandemic, nothing happened because of course, you just couldn't, it just wasn't feasible to do it for safety reasons and all. And then last year they did have some sort of online event happen, but it was spread out between like 4 weekends at different times. I never knew what was going on. I never knew what game was going on. And again, there were just online events. There's something about watching as a spectator, guys. I like watching Capcom Pro Tour. I have a blast watching it, and same with Evo. When you get to see your favorite fighting games, and especially in an offline event, and you see the commentary and you see the players walking out and talking and hands up and the crowd cheering and all that stuff, like that's part of the experience for me to enjoy. So I'm really happy that Evo is returning to an offline event back to Vegas, and it's going to be just big, and the whole FGC is excited, and it's drawing a buzz, and just put more eyeballs back onto the whole event. Because like I said, last year with the whole online event, I don't think anybody knew what was going on. It just wasn't. Me personally, speaking for myself, I just didn't care. I really didn't. I was like, okay, that's cool, that's great. And then same with the Capcom Pro Tour last year, where they had just a bunch of online events. Honestly, I just didn't care, guys. I wasn't hyped. They did try having some commentators there, but without seeing the crowds, without seeing the actual players, without seeing the hype, the crowd, just seeing that moment of everything going on live, it just wasn't a fun event for me, guys. And I don't know how you guys feel about it. And of course, y'all know me, sound off. Let me know what y'all thought about it, because going back to offline events with COVID finally being over, I think this is a good sign for the FGC, especially with Evo, to help kick it off and just cement offline events back into place. So I'm excited. Of course, you guys know me. I'm a big fan of Street Fighter. I'm going to have my eyes glued to the monitor, watching. I'll be watching pools, top 16, top 32, top 16, top 8. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get some information on the upcoming Street Fighter 6 news. Maybe some more character. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some character reveals. Maybe even a release date. You guys know that. You'll probably know. Evo is like the Super Bowl of fighting games. That's when you get all your big news, your big reveals, your big announcements. So and also some Guilty Gear, since I've been playing that game lately. I want to know what they got and what they got lined up for season 2. I believe they said they want to work on having some crossplay being released out with season 2 also. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. But I'm just happy that event's coming back, guys, and I just want to see more stuff. I'm completely excited to see what Capcom's up to. Again, I will say it's more character reveals, maybe even a hard date for Street Fighter 6. But guys, just make sure you. Honestly, when this podcast is out, it might be too late. I don't know. We'll see. I might release it before then. So get ready for that, guys. More Evo. This is something that I saw recently, guys, and it made me want to use my leverless controller, aka arcade stick without the stick, the no stick stick, as the boys were been calling it. If you guys don't know what that is, playing fighting games, for the most part, I play 90% of my fighting games on an arcade stick. More specifically, a Panthera. What's it called? It's called the. What is that one? Panthera. I forgot what stick it's called, guys. I'm sorry. It's a. Oh my god. I'm blanking out on the name. It's something Panthera. Razer Panthera. Yeah, that's the arcade stick I use when I play my fighting games for like 90% of the time. I did play King of Fighters on pad for a bit. I did play Guilty Gear on pad for a bit, but I'm transitioning into using arcade stick and actually a leverless. So what a leverless controller is, it's similar to a Hitbox, where it's an arcade stick. Instead of having on your left hand having an actual joystick to move your character up and down, what you have is 4 buttons: left, down, right, and up. And you'll have those 4 buttons for your movement, and then the other side, on your right hand side, you'll have your 8 to 6 attack buttons. Punch, kick, slash, heavy, slash, dust, whatever you want to call them. You'll have that on the other side. So you're basically trading in your arcade stick movement, the joystick movement, for 4 buttons. And the advantages on that part is that you just have very fast control to go from back and forth and up and down and to execute some of your moves. Of course, it takes a lot of practice to have your fingers to be very dexterous to move like that across one, to move back and forth and be very speedy. But of course, it's the advantage you get is that you don't have to swing that arcade stick, that joystick around. And like any tool, it just because you have a leverless controller or you have arcade stick or whatever, you still, or a pad or anything, none of them, I would say, have a clear advantage where you're gonna, just because you play this, you're gonna win. You have to be proficient with that controller. You have to be proficient with that tool to make it function. So me playing arcade stick for the longest, I want to try something different. I want to try a leverless. And you guys are probably saying, why are you calling it leverless, Rick? It's a Hitbox, right? Well, Hitbox is a brand. And usually when I say, usually when let me drink, guys, so I can prepare this. And of course, in America, it's very easy just to say a brand name of something to represent an item. Like, oh, you guys have any Cokes? You guys need you need Kleenex? You guys got some Q-tips? Do you have any, we use like the brand names to represent a whole umbrella of items under that same category. So a lot of people will say Hitbox to just represent a controller that doesn't have a lever. So, and usually I'm all about that. I'll just use brands just for whatever, but I don't want to say Hitbox and then like give out subliminal messages of using that name only and have people believe that that's the only brand available, because there's so many other brands that you could look into that have that layout design. So for that, I just choose to call it a leverless, guys, if you guys are wondering. But I've been trying to learn on that. And that's what I've been playing DNF Duel in, because on that game, it's a lot about using your movements. Even if you want to use your special moves, you just hit, forward and your attack, your forward and your magic button, or down or back or up. Your magic, your special moves, you could just do it with a simple input. Of course, you could do the technical input and you get rewarded. But on that game, it pretty much encourages you just to use shortcuts. So that's a good game for me to try to learn how to just get my movement down and use that. And of course, I'm telling you guys, when I first started out, you take jumping for granted in fighting games using a joystick, because on a joystick it's just forward and up, and then here you go, jump, forward, jump, easy. When it comes to a leverless, you got to punch in forward and then hit the jump button at the within certain frames of each other so it can make it function. So you have to constantly drill it into yourself that you have to be a lot more manual with your inputs, and that's part of the payoff, I guess, because now you are more in control of your executions. And it was difficult, guys. I'm telling you, I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? But little by little, I actually started getting some movement. I started getting my character to move where I wanted to. I was able to start blocking, execute some basic moves. It's still very rudimentary with my execution on the game. But actually, near the end of that stream, after 2 hour stream, I was actually got a couple of wins on some matches. Of course, they're bronze matches, against a lot of beginner characters, but nonetheless, I was still able to execute and get some wins. So I'm slowly trying to chip away and trying to use that box, the leverless, and I'm using just a basic homebrew one that I bought at a convention from a friend of mine. That he just has a Brooks converter and a homemade box, and look, I mean, it looks great, and I love it. And I'm glad that I'm finally be able to use it, because I've always had it just in the background. You guys might have seen it before on the background, up in the bookshelf, just as a piece of art. Excuse me. Yeah, so I decided, I actually want to use it. And I'm enjoying it, but I have a long way to go. So I want to start off with DNF Duel, and then maybe go into Street Fighter, because Street Fighter is a game that I know very well. I'm very comfortable in it. And that's something I would like to try out next with the leverless. I would say Guilty Gear, but even Guilty Gear, I'm not really well on playing that game too high. But eventually, I do want to play it on Guilty Gear, because I also believe that's going to help me a lot with my executions, especially trying to do a lot of the super moves on Guilty Gear require half circle back forward to execute. And I don't know about you guys. You guys probably have no issue with it, but I have problems trying to execute that on a joystick. I cut the half circle too short, and I just can't get my execution in a row. So I'm hoping with using a leverless, it'll help me with that type of gameplay, and the execution, actually be able to do my moves. But it's gonna be a process, guys. But I guess what I wanted. So besides me playing with the leverless, I did see that Hitbox is coming up with their cross-up controller. It's priced at $299. You heard me right. It's $3, and they have. So what's good about the advantages that I see from this cross-up controller from Hitbox is it's almost like your basic arcade stick setup, where you have your joystick on your left, your attack buttons on your right, but they have these 4 extra buttons, 1 below your attack buttons and 3 above your attack buttons, and they represent also movement buttons, so left, down, right, and jump at the very bottom. So you now have access to movement buttons with your left hand on the joystick, and on your right hand right on the outside, above and below your attack buttons. So this also gives you an advantage just to have quicker access. And I saw what they were demoing it, and they had one of the characters, Mai, able to charge down and then hit, while still holding the down button, holding the charge, hit up and slash, and she could do her, I don't know what the name's called, the move, but it's similar to Guile's flash kick. So she could do that while still holding down. And it got me thinking, it's like, if you're still able to hold down and hold that charge and just up, and the up button overrides the down, that just seems too much. Isn't that an advantage that you shouldn't be having when it comes to a controller? Because I remember a few years ago, Daigo, he had a Gaffro box that did similar functions like that, where he has forward and back, but they wouldn't override the inputs. So him playing Guile, he could just hold back and just do forward and punch, forward and punch, forward and punch, and sonic booms are just coming out while he's constantly just holding back with his other finger. So I mean, and that box got banned. So I don't know how something like this can start being allowed. And now, look, guys, I'm not a TO, and I'm not here to ban controllers or tell people what they can and cannot play on. I'm not about that, okay? Because I know there are some people that have actual disabilities that the only way they could play is with certain type of controllers, or with a certain hold or a certain way, and I'm not gonna be the one that starts a conversation and tell people what they can and can't play with. It's gonna be I believe it's a conversation that should be coming up, because it is a slippery slope. Because eventually down the road we're gonna be in a situation where we're just not gonna have an answer for, and some people are gonna take just blatant advantage of it, and I don't think that's gonna be fair, in my opinion. So stuff like that, controllers that allow that, I think that's something to keep an eye on. That you can just override a feature or like a movement, and you could constantly hold a charge. I don't know how you guys feel about that, and I would like for y'all to let me know what y'all think, because eventually, if people are just gonna keep thinking of just shortcuts and shortcuts and shortcuts, and then it just becomes, who's playing the game. Are you good because you're actually executing your specials and your moves and your combos, or are you good because the controller has built-in macros or overrides, so you could just play, just do one button execution TODs. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. I'm curious. Please let me know what you're thinking. Anything else, guys, that we want to talk about? I think that's about it, guys, for this week. I know it's kind of like all over the place. I talk about some stuff here and there. There is some more stuff I do want to talk about, guys, but I don't want this episode to go too far too long. We're already coming up on an hour. I think we're in a good spot here. But I do want to talk about. Briefly, I'll just talk about sales for video games for the month of June. No, we can skip that. I think that's about it, guys. Yeah, I'll take it back, guys. Oh, I do. Before we leave, though, I did get this in the mail today. If you guys are watching the video, you can see it. It is the Secret Lair from Magic the Gathering. It's the Magic the Gathering / Street Fighter. So that came in the mail today. I'm going to do an unboxing video sometime this week, guys, and we'll go over it. We'll go over the cards. I already know what cards are in there. Well, I know which characters are in there. It's Honda, Chun-Li, Guile. It's like the first starting characters from Street Fighter 2. But as for what they actually do on their cards, I've only just briefly looked over them, so I'm not too sure exactly what they do. So we'll go over, guys. I'm going to make a video, and I'll be on the YouTube if you guys want to check it out. And we could... we'll go over it in detail and discuss it and see if we could think of some old decks that we could make or builds or something. Mind you, guys, I haven't played Magic the Gathering since... I haven't been truly dedicated to playing Magic the Gathering since Time Spiral. So it's been a while. There's been lots of sets that have been out since then, guys. So, we'll just go down memory lane and we'll talk about it and take it from there. But anyways, guys, I want to say thank you for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I hope you hear my cats in the background. They're trying to get in. They're shitty ass cats. Anyways, guys, I really appreciate y'all listening. I love it. I love you guys for listening and hanging out, downloading, and just leave some comments. Let me know what you guys think, especially after all the stuff that I talked about, whether it's controllers, whether it's games being remade, whether it's games going free to play. I mean, just sound off, guys, because I'm genuinely curious. I like talking, but when I get to hear y'all's feedback, I really appreciate it even more. Anyways, guys, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Have a good week if I don't see you. Make sure to drop by at the stream, twitch.tv OS_R1CK. So you guys can catch me there if you want to drop by, say hello. I'll probably be playing some more Sekiro, some more DNF Duel on the lever list, maybe even some Street Fighter or Guilty Gear. We'll see what's up. But, all right, guys, I love you. Take care of yourselves. I will see y'all next time. Peace out. Bye.